Welcome to Monday Mojo. We're here with Tim, and he's going to share about some of the obstacles he was facing and how he was feeling before he became the muscle ripped guy that he is. And so, if you have any questions while he's sharing, put them in the chat box below. And as we get towards the end of the call, we'll address those later. So, Tim, take it away.
All right. Well, that was quite the intro. I appreciate that. Anyway, my name is Tim Tervo. I live currently in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, a little podunk town, middle of nowhere, about an hour north of Pittsburgh. Basically, I wanted to share my story of how I got into using Body Beast, Shakeology, became a Beachbody coach, that sort of thing, and pretty much everything that led up to it. I guess the best place to start would be right from the beginning. Right now I'm 34, but when I was in high school, I was the introvert. I was the nerd. I was the chubby kid with the black rimmed glasses with the bowl cut that didn't talk to anybody, So that led to a lot of social anxiety, things like that. I mean, I had friends, but I wasn't one to go out. I didn't I had low self-esteem, not really depression, but poor body image, all that sort of thing, anything that goes along with social anxiety. Graduated high school in 1999 and started at Slippery Rock University for computer science. And it was at that point where I realized that I had a major issue because I basically sat in my dorm the entire time. I wouldn't go out. I didn't want to go to lunch. I didn't want to go to class. I had some snacks in the dorm that I would eat the whole time because I was scared. I had social anxiety. I didn't like the way people I was shy, it wasn't like people treated me all that bad, but I wanted to get out there more. At the time, I have a cousin who he started working out and lost, I want to say 55, 60 pounds or whatever. And he got me on board. So pretty much right out of high school, I lost 45 pounds just by lifting weights. I wasn't doing a whole lot of cardio or anything. I didn't know basically anything about what I was doing. I just kind of followed his lead and did what he told me to do. I learned a decent amount at the time of what to do, what not to do. But as far as diet-wise, things like that, I didn't know pretty much anything. I was still eating garbage all the time. So I got results doing, your basic stuff, but that was about it. Keep a long story short, that's the longest I had done that was a year and a half. So it took me a year and a half to lose 45 pounds, which nowadays I could probably do that in 3 months. Matter of fact, I did do that in 3 months. To fast forward, well, that would have been in 99 and 2000. Fast forward to about 2004, 2005, I was a member of, I play guitar, so I was a member of a heavy metal band. Local band here in Newcastle. Moved in with a couple of my old schoolmates that were band members of mine. So basically we split the band up because nobody listens to that kind of garbage around here. And I decided that instead of using that time for band practice, me and the drummer that I was playing with decided I was going to teach him how to lift weights. We were going to get in shape together. So got a weight bench in the house, we had a lat machine. We had all sorts of stuff going on. Decided, we're going to get in shape because I had fallen off the wagon. I had put back on every single pound that I took off a few years before. So I was pretty determined, at least I thought. We might have stuck to it for about 4 months before I'm out on my own for the first time in my life. So all we did was party. We were having people over all the time, drinking, going out, going to parties at friends' houses, things like that, just living an incredibly unhealthy lifestyle. You name it, I was doing it, just trying to have a good time and basically destroying myself. So we gave up, probably about 4 or 5 months into it. I put on even more weight than I used to have before because I had found out at the time my mother had cancer. So, and like I said, I don't want to say I was depressed about it, but I was worried. Ended up moving back in with my parents to help take care of her. She ended up passing away in 2007, and that's when I gave up. everything. I had no desire. I didn't care about myself. Didn't care about anybody else. Nothing mattered to me. So, I mean, I was a mama's boy. I'm an only child pretty much. I have 2 half brothers, but I grew up on my own. So she was like my best friend. So when that happened, tried to get through that. Basically felt like I had to get out of this town. I had to get away from everything. So my girlfriend and I at the time, we just packed up and we moved to Pittsburgh. And that was in 2008. Still wasn't in the best of situations or anything like that. Living unhealthy, going out with friends and drinking. We were drinking at home, just having parties. Who cares? Just trying to get through everything. Well, 17 months later in 2009, my father passes away. And that was like done. I was done. Really I became an absolute workaholic. I was going to say alcoholic, but I wasn't an alcoholic, but I partied an awful lot. Wasn't taking care of myself. I didn't care. By that time, I got actually really, really skinny, which I have pictures I'll show you. Just felt like garbage, looked disgusting, had absolutely no desire. I didn't care about myself, just did not care. Her and I ended up breaking up, and I moved in with a few coworkers that I had. And at that point was whenever I decided, I was sick of working 55, 60 hours a week. I was going to cut my hours down, and at the time I ordered, I remember it was on Amazon. It was like $100 for like a 110-pound weight set with dumbbells and barbell and everything. I was like, I'm going to work out in my room. I don't care. I don't have a bench. I don't have anything. I'm going to figure something out. So the order showed up, sat in my room for a solid 2 months. I never touched it. I was like, you know what? I need some sort of program. So I ordered, at the time, it was P90X was huge. So ordered that. That showed up on my doorstep. I had all this resolve. I was going to start. I was going to get back into shape. I was going to lose all the weight and everything. Or actually, no, I was going to try to put on muscle because I had lost a ton of weight. I made it one day. I remember going to work the next day after the first time I tried it, sore as hell, where your arm is all bunched up and everything, and you can't move it. Hated it. I was like, I can't jump into this, head first right off the bat. I need to start slow. I need to do something on my own. Took the next 6 months off. I didn't touch anything because that was around January. In June of 2010, I decided, I can't handle this P90X stuff right off the bat. I'm going to start slow, zero muscle. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to do some curls in my bedroom, and that's it. Well, I actually started getting fairly decent results after maybe a month and a half. I was taking some creatine, your protein, the usual stuff. And that's when I found out they had a free gym in the town that I lived in Pittsburgh. So I started going to the gym, working out, started getting big again. Everything was going great. Christmas hit. So I come home for Christmas, start hanging out with the family, partying again. Long story short, stopped going to the gym, stopped caring about myself again, gave up. Fast forward till 2013. The roommates I had in Pittsburgh, things didn't work out with them, so I quit my job there, came back to Newcastle, went straight back into old habits where I was working 65 hours a week, just I had nothing better to do, didn't care about myself, eating maybe once a day, just garbage. Lost a ton of weight, gained a ton of weight, lost it again, partying with people, just all the bad stuff that you could think of doing to yourself, I was doing it. What was it? Last year in March. No, I'm sorry. It was 2013 in May. I decided, I got a letter in the mail that said I had a big 401k account that I used to have at my old job working for an insurance company that I had never cashed out, and they wanted to know what to do with it. I was 20-something at the time when I got laid off from that job, so I didn't even know I had it. So when I found out I had that, I decided, you know what? This is my chance. This is my vacation. I'm done. I'm not putting in these kind of hours anymore. So I decided, I'm going to sit around. I'm going to sit at home. I'm taking vacation. And that was the end of it. Well, sat around until September last year. Did Nothing, absolutely nothing. I put on probably 60, 65 pounds. No pants that I owned fit. Nothing would button. I remember going to Thanksgiving and after eating, trying to button my camo pants, and they wouldn't go around my big gut. That's when I realized, I'm like, look, man, I got to do something. Actually, I started before Thanksgiving, but it was pretty much the same the whole time. I was like, I need to do something. So I left all my weights and everything that I had back in Pittsburgh, because trying to move all that stuff, I wasn't trying to bring all that stuff up on a bus with me. I decided, you know what? I have been sitting around for a solid year just making excuses for myself, doing nothing for myself. I'm the most unhealthy I've ever been in my entire life. I need to just break this cycle, and I need to do something. And I would sit around and make excuses going, well, I don't have the equipment. I knew I had the time, but I was like, I don't have the equipment. I don't have the desire. I'm eating garbage all the time. I'd rather just sit around and watch TV or, screw around on YouTube and watch stupid videos. But the one day I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? I got creative with this stuff before and I started getting results. I'm going to do it again. And it was at that point I had the resolve. I said, whatever I can find to use to give myself some weight, just something to lift. I didn't care what it was. I know the motions, I know proper form and all that. And actually the picture that we used for this conference was wrong. I didn't own a dumbbell. I didn't even have one dumbbell. I like to show you what I started with. Milk jugs full of water. Google it. A gallon of water weighs approximately 8 pounds. 2-liter water weighs approximately 5 pounds. I got myself a backpack. The only money I really spent on any of this stuff was on a 25-pound plate. I had push-up handles, all that stuff. That's it. That's what I started with. So basically, you can get a decent idea of how much you're lifting by just doing that. I have a couple duffel bags. Just start packing water bottles in there. And I'm sitting in my room with my water bottles, because, hey, weight is weight. It doesn't matter if you have a dumbbell full of 50 pounds of iron or if you have 50 pounds in a duffel bag. It weighs the same thing. So I started getting creative. I'm doing curls with bags and holding, gallon milk jugs full of water, doing kickbacks. And everything. I'm starting to see results. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my entire life, but it's working. So I started posting some pictures on my Facebook. I had gotten off Facebook. I hadn't posted on Facebook for months. I was disgusted with myself. I was, embarrassed with how I looked, of what I had become. I remember the first time I changed my profile picture after I started getting some results, people were like, oh my God, what have you been doing? What happened to you? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to tell anybody, I'm sitting in my room lifting milk jugs. That just sounded stupid. It was a few months into that. That would have been September of 2014. That's when I started. I also discovered, I was watching YouTube videos. You guys might even know, like the Hodge twins, Elliot Halse, Chris Jones, and Physiques of Greatness, all Scooby. I was, relearning a lot of the stuff that I had forgotten about, like diet and different supplementation, that type of thing. So I got back on track for the most part for myself. I was getting decent enough results, not losing a whole heck of a lot of weight, but I was gaining muscle, and I was happy with that. I was making progress. Then it was, I want to say March or April of this year, my coach, Jamie, actually sends me a message. She's like, I have this accountability group going on. I see, you're doing really well for yourself. You're making progress in it. I'd really love to have somebody like you come in and for motivation or whatever. Initially, I was like, no, I'm not telling anybody how I'm doing this. This is embarrassing. So a couple of days later, I was like, all right, sure, add me. Whatever, we'll see what happens. I didn't tell anybody how I was doing any of this stuff. I mean, I'm taking my push-up handles and I'm wrapping a belt around the handle and doing overhead extensions with a bag. It was stupid looking. But after, I think maybe a week or two, I finally came clean. I was like, guys, look, I'll I'll show you what I mean when I say, because I say, I have no excuses. I'm doing this however I possibly can. So I said, I'll show you what I mean by no excuses. And I took a picture of literally my junk pile that I was using to lift weights. And I got all this, wasn't expecting it, but I got all this, oh my God, you're so creative. That's so motivating. You didn't let anything stop you. I was like, whoa, hold on. This is embarrassing. You're on the wrong track. Hang on. But they kept on going. They're like, you're doing absolutely everything you can to, you're not making any excuse for yourself at all. And, that's awesome. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Great. I'll just keep it up. And I kept it up for a couple more months. And that's when she's like, why don't you try a Body Beast? That's what I've been doing. Jamie got ridiculous results with it. Like, oh God. She's like, why don't you try it? And I was like, I jumped straight back into like P90X mode. I'm like, look, that stuff's way too hard. The home DVD thing, I'm not really into that. I'll just stick with my own thing. Well, after another week of prodding a little bit, I was like, all right, fine. I'll try it to the best of my ability. I'm like, I don't know how I can actually do a program with, bags and bottles and stupid stuff, but I got a hold of it and I made it work. I had to modify a bunch of things as far as like, say when they're doing, presses and whatever, I just put on my backpack, put in a bunch of bottles. I'm doing weighted push-ups instead. I figured it out. Took a lot of creativity, but I did my entire first round with literal garbage. I have, some resistance bands that I use for like rows and things like that. There's 2 different parks on either side of me, maybe a 10, 15-minute walk. So I'd walk to the park and I'd get on the monkey bars and I was doing pull-ups on those. I had no excuse to not do something good for myself. So that's basically how I had started my first round. Or actually, I did my entire first round like that. At the end of my first round is when actually a couple people started saying, you should be a coach. I'm going, naturally, I'm, apprehensive about all this stuff, as you've seen from my past. I'm like, I don't know if I'm cut out for that. But eventually I just like, about a week later, I'm like, all right, fine, let's do it. So signed up to be a coach, and I'll never forget that first night. I posted about it, and at least 200 notifications from people sending me messages, and I couldn't keep up with it. It was ridiculous because I posted on my personal profile and like page, my garbage pile of how I started lifting and everything, and people were like, "Oh my God, can you show me how? Can you teach me?" I'm like, I never expected for a second that something that stupid looking would actually inspire people, but didn't make any excuses. Started my second round of Body Beast. I don't even know what the date is. I'm almost halfway through it now. Right in the beginning, after in my accountability group, I have a friend that I went to high school with named Brian, who he messaged me. He picked up Body Beast as well because he saw my results. He's like, man, I got to try this stuff. You're getting really, really good results. And believe me, 85 to 90% of the results that I got were straight from Body Beast. My BS program that I was doing myself, it did all right, but Body Beast was completely beyond what I expected to do. So he's like, hey, man, I just got Body Beast. I want to try it out. He's like, what do you say we both start going to the gym together? He goes, you can train with me and everything, and we'll do, he goes, you can do your second round and I'll start my first and we'll do everything together. I'm like, that's not such a bad idea. So I just got rid of my garbage pile pretty much. I didn't have to use that anymore. So we started at a real gym, 3 weeks ago. And the benefit of all this stuff I didn't expect at all, like becoming a coach, having an accountability group, they push me and motivate me more than I ever could have imagined. Any of this stuff I wouldn't have thought I wasn't planning on ever going to a gym or anything. Like I was just going to sit here in my room and do my dinky little thing. But we're in the gym now and we're killing it. He's killing it. He pushes me. I thought I would have to motivate him in between sets. He's telling me, let's go. So I did not imagine any of this would have been possible. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be considering doing the Beachbody Classic next year, I would have told you were crazy. There's no way, because that's sort of in the plans too. It's hard for me to even think about doing something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm looking at it, so we'll see how that goes. Trying to think of what else I had. Basically, there's only two other things I wanted to say before we get into questions, if you guys have any. The whole coaching thing. I'm sure you guys know, you go on Facebook nowadays, anywhere, everybody is offended by something. Everything is negative. You know, people just argue about everything. What I've found out, like doing something like this, is I can be a positive force in somebody's life. If I can inspire one person to do something for themselves, to pull themselves out of that rut like I was in, I'm happy with my choice. The messages I get, I'm not necessarily sure. I don't feel like I deserve the praise, but the messages I get from people thanking me for, getting them moving again. And I have a friend that lost like 30 some pounds the past few months because of things that I've taught her. And it's ridiculous. It makes you feel so good. I just want to be positive about this stuff now because I did it for myself. I didn't make any excuses. It was hard. I had to get some creative with a lot of things, but you know what? I did it. There's no reason anybody else can't. And the last thing I wanted to touch on was something I just experienced this weekend. A few of you may know, like the Mr. Olympia competition was this weekend. So on my personal profile, I posted a couple pictures of the guys. I was like, man, these dudes are in such good shape. And when I first started working out, people would tell me, oh, don't get too skinny. Okay, sure. Then when I posted these, people go, oh, you don't want to get that big. That's disgusting. I'm like, okay. The thing I wanted to point out with something like that is when people tell you how to look, do what you should look a certain way or do something the way they think you should do it. Push that stuff out. Whatever you want to do, go out there and do it. And there are no excuses. I'm living proof. I'm throwing around bottles of water, and I got good results. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you guys. And if you have anything to ask, I'm willing to take questions. We're good.
You want to share your before and after pictures?
Oh, yeah. As far as before pictures go, I don't have any when I was really fat because I avoided mirrors, I avoided cameras, everything. This was back when I was in Pittsburgh in, I want to say, 2012. Workaholic, just going to the bar all the time, just disgustingly skinny. This one here, how did I do that? This I put together because I wanted to show some different stages of where I had come from and where I am now. The two on the right was when I was in high school. Like I said, I had like a bowl cut and glasses. I was a geek. The two in the middle, the one on the bottom I was 2013, still sickly, disgusting looking, skinny, sitting around doing nothing. Then I got the one in the top middle. That's actually after I had lost about 30 pounds. That was the day before I started Body Beast. And the two on the left were right at the end of my first round of Body Beast, where I had put on like some serious muscle and like started getting, some pretty good cuts and everything. What do we got? And basically that's where I had come from. Right before I moved back from Pittsburgh, the one on the left is how I looked. And the one on the right was the day after I finished my first round of Body Beast. I had put on some serious muscle. And like I said, I don't have pictures of whenever I was, really, really overweight because I wouldn't even look in the mirror. I was disgusted with myself. But I thought I got some really good results off of it. Forgot about that one. That's whenever that was comparable to whenever I was really overweight with my balloon head. And I thought it was funny, so I wanted to show it. And, that's all I got right there.
That's amazing.
Anything you guys want to know?
I got a question for you, brother.
How did you come across the nutrition? How did you find that? You said you were really, really skinny when you started Body Beast, correct?
No, not when I started Body Beast. The one picture I showed where in the middle, the top one where I was still pretty chubby. That was the day before I started Body Beast, and I had already lost 25 or 30 pounds. As far as the nutrition goes, I mean, I had known from previous years basically how to diet, how to eat, and everything, how to gain muscle. I put on mass really easy. It's taking it back off that I have a hard time with. Possibly because I really don't like doing cardio, but that's neither here nor there. The nutrition was, honestly, it was a lot of trial and error. I didn't follow the nutrition plan like I should have. I just tried to eat as clean as I could. I fell off the wagon a bunch of times. We all do. You know, for the first month and a half of Body Beast, I pretty much ate whatever I wanted until I realized, hey, you know, the final block where you cut everything is coming up. So that's when I was like, yeah, I got to clean this up as quick as I possibly can. And that's where a lot of the weight loss had happened from Body Beast. I put on mass beforehand, and then I dropped probably 10, 15 pounds in the last 4 weeks because I took the scale and I pitched the scale in the back of the closet, and I didn't look at it. That thing was going all over the place on me because I was losing fat plus gaining muscle, so it was everywhere. Last time I got on the scale, well, the first time I got on the scale since March was just last week, and I was at 175, and that's down from 220. But I also put on a lot of muscle, so that's basically it on that. Anybody else?
Take myself off mute. Hey, would you mind talking about your supplements? What do you use? What do you like?
Supplements, I am a bare bones type of guy. I don't do a whole lot of like protein powders. I don't do BCAAs and stuff like that. All I really use Shakeology every morning. That's a given. Real quick story. I remember when I would see all the coaches talk about, oh yeah, you should try Shakeology. It's great. You know, it makes you feel good all day. It kills your cravings. I'm going, nah, you're a snake oil salesman. I'm not buying it. I don't like everything else. I gave in. I tried it. And I'll tell you what, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, I don't go a morning without drinking it anymore. I'm not real crazy about like all the different recipes and everything. They look great. But I take it as soon as I wake up. I'm lazy when I wake up. I'm not doing that. I just pour some coffee into it, mix it up with chocolate. We're good to go for all day long. Love it. So basically all I really take is Shakeology, creatine, and a pre-workout. That's it.
What kind of creatine are you taking?
The Beachbody kind right now. I started off with just cheap stuff from like Walmart and everything back like last year, but now everything pretty much straight Beachbody.
Nice.
Is there a Body Beast workout? Well, let me ask two questions. What's your favorite one, and what's your least favorite one, and why?
Oh, those are easy. That's an easy question. The favorite one, the Holy Grail, is bulk arms. Every guy in the world loves doing arms. Least favorite, bulk legs. Bulk legs is, oh my God. I mean, I'll do it, but oh God. I remember the first time I did that, I hurt for 4 days afterwards. I could barely walk.
Woo.
But I do it whenever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I'm also kind of curious to know from Jamie's perspective, since she was coaching you, like
Yes.
what was that like?
Well, Tim and I know each other from high school. And we just reconnected over Facebook, like he said, seeing his pictures and stuff. But Tim and I have an odd relationship. So we fight a lot. And and he always kind of just does his own thing, but he always is like, he's a complete no excuse guy. I never have to wonder if he's doing his workouts or doing anything, because I know he is. but he's interesting. Love you, but
Love
Very
you
diplomatic.
too.
You said a
I
couple
have no idea how long we've been going. We all good or?
Yeah. We probably wrap up in a couple seconds. If there anybody else have comments or questions? Cool. We'll wrap it up then. Well, Tim, I want to just thank you so much for being a part of this call, sharing your story. It was absolutely perfect. I can think of so many people who are going to relate to that. I can remember when I was like making up my own thing and doing crazy stuff, and I knew that a gallon of water equals 8 pounds. So that's
Nice.
I didn't know about the 2 liter, but so that's good information. But that's yeah. I mean,
Here's your friend.
there's so many. Yeah, right. Google. Yeah. There's just so many people who are just desperate to feel better, and we do whatever we want, whatever we can. And we're Googling stuff and we're asking people, and I think it's just a huge testament to the way that you just never gave up and the way that you found some really awesome tools that got you to this place. That's fantastic. So what a great story about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
good job. Thanks.